For sure, them belts coming with me. They coming home with me. I'm telling you right now.
You can see it, but it's gonna be difficult. You take it to your home.
I'm taking them. And ain't nothing you gonna be able to do about it come fight night.
I know Turkey's in your corner,
I promise you.
But look, it's gonna be very difficult. He's gonna be so mad that day. Believe me.
Even though they said they wouldn't talk trash about each other, Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez broke their promise right away, and their press conference turned into a nasty verbal battle.
We are true fighters.
Yeah, two fighters.
True fighters.
True, yeah, of course. No, not YouTuber fighters.
Huh?
Not YouTuber fighters. Yeah, of course.
They need to talk and talk about fight because they want to say something. The people know we are great fighters. They want to put a great fight.
Yeah.
We don't need to talk.
I am sure in the end in the mid of September.
The two fighters lost all respect for each other and trolled each other like they would any other opponent. You can guess who started?
I see you. I see you. You see I'm different.
I see you too.
You see I'm different than all the other ones.
No, I see you. No, you don't look different. You're nothing different.
I'm different.
Nothing different.
I'm different.
We'll see.
You gonna see. You know it.
We'll see. We'll see.
The fight was called the fight of the century, but Alvarez didn't care that American Crawford, who was going up from light middleweight, might make it close. Alvarez once played down the big fight because he thought he had nothing to gain by beating a man who started his career as a lightweight. When asked about how loss to two-time undisputed champion Crawford would affect his legendary record, Canelo, 34, said, "He's not going to beat me. Don't worry about it. He's not going to beat me. There's no doubt that this fight will go down in late room history."
He's not gonna beat me. Don't worry about it. He's not gonna beat me. Don't worry about it. I think this fight is gonna be in the books of the history of boxing for sure. That's for sure.
He's a great boxer, but not as good as Canelo. I have the knowledge. They only focus on my power, but I have more than that. This fight is going to be one of the best matches on my record. Alvarez, 34, is 3 years younger than Crawford, but he has been tasked with passing the torch to Crawford since he became a professional boxer at the age of 15. He has won 11 world titles, 27 world title fights, and 67 fights in total.
Streets, you and Canelo, what would it look like?
Come on, man. I know what I do. I ain't got to talk about it on the streets. I'm me against anybody. I ain't never gonna say another man gonna whoop me. So, you know what I mean? That's your answer right there.
I guess in Guadalajara, you think it'd be a little different on the streets if Terence came to town?
I think every city, every place is different, no? It's different. But we don't talking about the streets. We're talking about boxing, the beautiful sport of boxing. So that's different, way different than the streets.
Having fought 19 straight world title fights and being the undisputed two-weight king is something that most fighters can only dream of. According to Crawford, he will be the first male three-weight undisputed winner. This is a classy nod to Clarissa Shields, the American woman who has already lost in the women's code. "I'm taking them, and there ain't nothing you can do about it. I promise that you'll see I'm."
However I gotta fight, I'ma win. Simple as that. I'm not gonna let somebody else force me or tell me how to fight when I've been fighting my whole life. You know, I won't be running. You know, I could tell you that. But I will be, you know, doing a lot of touching.
Get me wrong. He's a great fighter, like I say, he's not Canelo.
Alvarez made his pro debut at the age of 15 in 2005, while Crawford made his at the age of 20 in 2008. Crawford, who is being openly backed by a lawshik, said this is the fight he always wanted. "I called Canelo out. He is the last great fighter amongst the age that surpassed us. Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, and Oscar de la Hoya, we both came up in that age, and he got the chance to fight them. I wasn't able to get those giant fights. This is my big fight. This is my..."
I'm very excited, motivated, because this is all about. I want to make history, and I'm very excited for this fight. He's not gonna beat me. Don't worry about it. He's not gonna beat me. Don't worry about it. I think this fight is gonna be.
He now stars on Netflix at the Las Vegas Raiders on €1 billion 6,500-seater stadium versus Crawford, who says he will never lose to Canelo in the ring or out, saying, "Come on, man, you know what I do. I don't need to talk about it on the street. I'm never going to say another man can beat me." That's your answer. However, Canelo reply, "We're not talking about the streets. We're talking about boxing, the wonderful sport of boxing."
So, however they rate me, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we got to fight, and I'm gonna win the fight. It's simple as that.
Can I ask you about if there's any rematch clause with this fight with Canelo?
No, it's not.
Is that something you push for?
No, I didn't.
And there's any weight restrictions to the fight at all?
No, it's not.
After that short back-and-forth press conference, host Todd Gisham pressed both fighters on their mindsets ahead of the upcoming clash, and Crawford said his focus isn't on what might happen if the fight goes to the scorecards. Instead, he's looking to control the controllables. "I can't focus on the judges. I've just got to focus on doing what I can do and controlling what I can control inside the ring. And that's going out there and winning the fight easily." Canelo has a granite chin. He's tough and sturdy. We've seen him get harmed a few times, but not to the point where it's not appropriate. But in the proper circumstances, anyone can be knocked out. I will always rise to the situation. I have done so throughout my career. This is my moment, and I am not going to let Canelo take it away from me. With Crawford moving up to weight classes to confront him, Canelo is well aware of the job his opponent faces.
Fighters would like to put on a weight restriction to this type of fight. Why didn't you want to do that?
Because I want him at his best. I don't want no excuses. I don't want no, reasons why, he didn't feel good or anything. I want him at his best.
The Mexican superstar has been successful on several occasions while being the smaller man in the ring, and said that size will not be an issue for him as he prepares to face an undefeated two-weight, undisputed champion on September 13th. "I've been in his position before, and I'm not thinking about that," said Canelo. "Small or big, I constantly prepare for the finest fighter out there. I am a winner. I'm always thinking about the win, and I'm going to win. My viewpoint has shifted, and I'm grateful to Netflix, Turkey, and all of the guys involved in this battle, because, for me, it's all about making history, and I'm honored to be here."
When would you say, from memory, that you first thought this fight was a real possibility, that you started thinking about this fight actually happening?
Well, I started thinking about it, a couple of years ago when they started talking about Spence fighting Canelo. Then just, sizing him up, like, all right, how tall is he? How long his arms and things like that. Just sizing him up like that and going to his fights and things like that.
With the fighters setting the scene for their epic clash, the two protagonists signed off by sending messages to their respective fan groups ahead of fight night. "They know I always come to fight. I always come with my best, and I just thank them for all the support," said Canelo. "And I hope they will be there watching or in the arena cheering for me and enjoying the win." Crawford rallied his fan group to arrive dressed to impress as they make the pilgrimage from Omaha.
Of experts, I think Canelo's not the same fighter. His punch output's a lot less. What do you think, considering the last 12 months or so? Is he the same fighter he was maybe a few years ago?
I think he is. I just think he just wasn't up for the skull fight, and I think different fighters bring different energies out of other fighters.
A lot of people are judging you on the Madrimov fight, saying you struggled moving up in weight. You're going further up in weight, and they're saying that's going to go against you based on the Madrimov fight. How do you
"I just tell them, suit up," he said. "We're about to bring some more jewelry home, and it's going to be an exciting day for boxing." Terence Crawford will be the first male boxer to become a three-weight, undisputed champion of the world. And I mean that the fight will be held at NFL-side Las Vegas Raiders Allegiant Stadium in Vegas, which holds 65,000 people. It will also be the first show that UFC President Dana White's new boxing outfit will.
Oscar De La Hoya wastes my time with this question.
Yeah, we saw Oscar De La Hoya trying to say that the fight was going to take place maybe in the daytime.
Yeah, this is what I want from you to say his name. I decide with Dana White to have a breakfast in MGM at 10 a.m. inshallah. Then we will go to the arena to have the fights quick.
The press conference started with opening comments from His Excellency Turki Alalshik, who revealed that he had dinner with both fighters on Thursday evening. But now that those pleasantries have ended, the real business of preparing for the fight begins. I want to thank the two giants, great fighters. In the end, it happened because of God, he said. Before 12 o'clock, we had dinner together, and that was all. They were professional in front of me yesterday, but after 12 o'clock, the status and everything went. Now they shall begin.
Dinner to Carbon, and in the night we will watch Conjuring because it will launch in September. Oscar De La Hoya wastes my time with this question. Of course, it is in the peak. This is the boxing, the sport number one in the world. This is Canelo and Crawford.
The head of the General Entertainment Authority has been the hand of power and driver of incredible Saudi investment in boxing in the last 18 months, but has not often sat among the fighters at public events. Alalshik outlined his demands to two of the best fighters of their generation in the opening remarks, slamming Tom and Jerry fights and demanding they must deliver him a smashing face. At the beginning of a three-city press tour that included Las Vegas and New York, gathering media only asked Alalshik questions before he left the stage. It took almost 25 minutes before either fighter spoke. Saudi Arabia has invested huge sums of money into sport in an effort, the kingdom says, to diversify their income revenues as a nation, but continues to face charges using sport as a vehicle for sport watching and propaganda. But with Alalshik set to start on a new venture of super fights aired on Netflix and creating a new promotional entity to do so, the Saudi investment into boxing shows little sign of slowing down.
This is what I want from you to say his name. I decide with Dana White to have a breakfast in MGM at 10 a.m. inshallah. Then we will go to the arena to have the fights quick. And after that, we will go dinner to Carbon, and in the night we will watch Conjuring because it will launch in September.
I want to speak to you about some of Turkey's comments. He said he doesn't want Tom and Jerry, people running away in the ring. What did you make of that?
I agree with that. You know, people want to see a good fight. And I agree with that.
Do you think
because, you know, people come and spend money to see a great fight, and if the other fighter come and run all the night and don't make a good fight, it's deceptional.
He is Turkish. Alalshik, also known as His Excellency, is the key figure in Saudi Arabia, becoming a big player in professional boxing as a deep-pocketed promoter. I hate Tom and Jerry's kind of boxing, Alalshik said, referring to the popular animated series, as well as boxes to run from their opponents. I am sure Alvarez and Crawford will deliver for me smashing face and blood. And this is boxing. He did not provide details, but his message was clear. Alvarez and Crawford will be expected to deliver despite recent history. Terence Crawford, right, faces off against Canelo Alvarez during a press conference in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia ahead of their super middleweight title fight in September. Alvarez is coming off a lackluster victory over William Skull, a unanimous decision in May. The crowd booed as Skull spent most of the fight running from Alvarez, who exerted modest effort to chase down Skull. It also happened to be the first fight of Alvarez's 5. I deal with the Saudis. I waste my time with this question, of course. Is in the beak. This is the boxing, the spot number one in the world. This is Canelo and Crawford. Alright, on the left hand side here, do you think he saw your fight with Schooland and potentially cancel the we talk after about that? And it's very sad, but you know it is what it is. I know we'll do that. I hope not, because we expect a good fight, great fight, the fight of the century, right? So I hope not. Crawford has not fought since August 2024, and that was an unforgettable bout. He beat Israel Madrimov by unanimous decision. Like Alvarez, he heard boos during a fight that included no knockdowns. Alalshik suggested he didn't want a 12-by-12 ring to ensure adequate action for the fight, but apparently he thought it would be a good idea to have dinner with Alvarez and Crawford before the press conference. We talked yesterday, and they are skilled. Alalshik said later in the press meeting, but I think starting from last night, they know what they need to do. Neither Alvarez nor Crawford sounded as if Alalshik's words will have a great effect when they fight at Allegiant Stadium, home of the Las Vegas Raiders, for the undisputed super middleweight championship.
You heard His Excellency saying no more Tom and Jerry, no more running, but you're moving up 2 weight classes. It's not going to be smart for you to stand there and hammer it out with this guy. So how do you kind of balance that, not running, but being elusive in fighting Canelo?
However I gotta fight, I'ma win. Simple as that. I'm not gonna let somebody else force me or tell me how to fight when I've been fighting my whole life. You know, I won't be running.
Crawford, 37, is moving up to weight classes 14 pounds to meet Alvarez at super middleweight. His standing toe-to-toe with Alvarez would thrill the fans and perhaps create the fight that Alalshik wants, but don't count on it. I'm not going to let somebody else force or tell me how to fight, Crawford said. When I've been fighting my whole life, I won't be running, I could tell you that, but I will be doing a lot of touching. In defense of Crawford, before the fight against Madrimov, he'd won 11 straight fights by knockout. Alvarez, 34, suggested his fight would be one for the history books, but it's worth revisiting recent events. His fight against Skull was a terrible fight, but we win. Alvarez said that's all that counts. Well, listen, I called Canelo out because, like I said, he's the last great fighter of the age that surpassed us. You know, the Floyd, the Pacquiao, and the De La Hoya, we both came up in that age. And he was right there with those fighters, and he got the chance to fight the Miguel Cottos, the Floyd Mayweathers, and, you know, the Kovalevs and Triple Gs, and I wasn't able to get those mega fights. If Alvarez had been listening at the dinner or at the press conference, he'd know that's not all that matters to Alalshik or, generally speaking, boxing fans. Your Excellency Tazzy Brown from AustraliaFights.com. First of all, congrats for everything you've done for boxing since you've come into the game. You've given us many great fights, and you continue with your excellence to keep giving us greater and better fights. You're a boxer historian yourself. Do you think this fight resembles Marvin Hagler in the 80s? The fact a Canelo altar is called for the two great pound-for-pound legends, both first Hall of Famers in the future. Alvarez's next knockout will be his first since 2021 when he stopped Caleb Plant with an 11th round TKO. Maybe it's something His Excellencies will address during another dinner with Alvarez and Crawford. Back to boxing, and the news conference ended with the traditional face-off. The attention then turned to the two men set to battle for undisputed super middleweight gold on September 13th in Las Vegas, as we heard from Alvarez and Crawford for the first time in a press conference setting since their fight booking.
Your Excellency, Tazzy Brown from AustraliaFightHot.com. First of all, congratulations for everything you've done for boxing since you've come into the game. You've gave us many great fights, and you continue, Your Excellency, to keep giving us greater fights. You're a boxing historian yourself. Do you think this fight resembles Marvin Hagler should have admitted in the 80s? The fact that Canelo and Terence Crawford are the two great pound-for-pound legends, both first ballot Hall of Famers.
In an interview with Boxing Social, Mosley was asked if he thinks Crawford has what it takes to defeat Canelo, taking into consideration that I can't see it because Canelo also has skills. It's not like he doesn't have the skills that Crawford has. Yeah, I'm just saying that if they both fought at 154, and Canelo was who he was at 154, and they both fought, I'm not sure. And now you've got Canelo at 168, I just don't see it.
I think Canelo's too big for Crawford. I think that the reason why, if Crawford was a mover like the rest of the fight, then maybe he can have a good chance with Canelo. But I think that being that Crawford is a fighter, that's gonna be his problem. He's a fighter. He wants to fight, and he's gonna move a little bit, but his heart is not in moving. So he's gonna have to sit there and fight with Canelo. And if you sit there and fight with Canelo, and he's that much bigger than you, then I don't know.
Canelo has proven to be a big player at super middleweight since he moved up from middleweight back in 2018, defeating the likes of Gennady Golovkin, Jermall Charlo, and Jaime Munguia during his reign. A victory for Crawford would see the unbeaten 37-year-old capture an undisputed championship in a third weight class, becoming the first male fighter in boxing history who achieved this feat. And that's all for now. For the very best updates on news, times, events,